This is a review of Bill and Ted Face the Music. It's the third movie in a unlikely trilogy that started in 1999 with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then it took a big dip in 1991 with Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and it continued falling into the abyss in 2020. So yeah, obviously I've seen the movie, and I gotta say my initial reaction was regurgitating all over my laptop. That's right. I did not enjoy the movie. I loved the first Bill and Ted. It was a treat. It wasn't nothing I was gonna own at any point, but I did find it funny and light, and the antagonists were funny, and well, it's been some time. Now even when I watched Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, that was humorous. I did like the end though. When they showed up and they had this horrendous song that was supposed to be the song that these two idiots wrote to save the universe. And now here in 2020, I never thought something could make me long for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I never thought that could happen. I mean, it was just trash, and obviously a cash grab. I mean, a complete cash grab and whatnot. And there's been little TV show spin-off, and I think cartoons and all kind of nonsense. And I just got no love for this shit. Okay, I had a virulent reaction to this movie. Okay, I just vomit all over myself. Watching it because it was obvious, and I got something to say about that. This movie was a cash grab. It was a mess. It was a mess. So most of it was shot on a green screen. There's a soundstage or something. Directed by Dean Parasite, and that he need to go hide under his bed and think about his life. Because I don't want to say any buzzwords and shit to get anybody triggered and shit, but it was everything anybody with common sense that saw the trailer thought it was. It was anything that people saw in the trailer. Anybody with any common sense knew exactly what the fuck this was. It was total bullshit. So yeah, I gotta say two words: identity politics. Identity politics. And now that I've said that, some dicks listening to this are gonna just call me a misogynist or something, or some old dude in a basement. I'm not exactly in a basement, buddy. Okay? And I fall into a certain demographic that should be behind your hypocritical shield. Okay? I'll put it that way. Bill and Ted Face the Music is a piece of shit. Okay? And it's agenda politics that ruined this movie. I don't even know if it could have been saved even if it wasn't agenda politics. George Carlin is dead. What the fuck you gonna do with that shit? And Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, they look like hell. They had no fucking makeup on. I'm like, man, this shit was completely digital. I mean, it was high def or something. You can see every age line on their fucking faces. I have never seen in my life seen Keanu Reeves look so bad. He looked really bad. I'm like, did they have no makeup? And they had a stand-in for George Carlin. They introduced a daughter, and this woman, man, I don't know where the hell they got this person, man. Her name's Kristen Shaw. Yeah, Kristen Shaw or whatever. She's been on some shit that I've never watched. Okay, she's a voice actress, and you could, because the makeup was so bad and it was high def, you could see every goddamn line on her forehead. She had more grooves in her forehead than goddamn Triple H and Ric Flair. I'm like, shit. That was a wrestling thing for anybody not into that. These guys bladed, and this bitch obviously bladed too, because every fucking line in her forehead was distinctly visible, and she looked horrible, man. She looked horrible. I'm like, they couldn't get the Janine Garofalo or some other irreverent person from that time. They could have got some other people, some other, iconic person to pick up the slack on that. They didn't do shit, and it's just the same old crap, and I'm just tired of it. I enjoyed maybe the small portion of the movie that has William Sadler return as the Grim Reaper, and that was cool, But basically, it's everything you thought it was. No one can be happy in the future, okay? Because of agenda politics, no one can be happy in no movie. They can't have no decent relationship or marriage or nothing. In the first two movies, we saw Bill and Ted paired up with two princesses from medieval times, and they seem happy in both movies. Well, now, even though the second movie is a downer, but this movie is an absolute shit. Okay, and they didn't even have the decency to bring back either of the quartet of actresses that have portrayed those princesses since 1989. They didn't bring. They just hired a whole new bunch of women that look way younger than Keanu and Mr. Winter and shit. Because Keanu and Mr. Winter, their faces were so fucked up from a lack of makeup and high def that their faces look like paper mache masks or something. I mean, William Sadler made in the death makeup look more alive than these two guys. And they look like shit. And Keanu was like dragging his leg in some scenes. I'm like, what happened to this guy? He can't even walk and shit, you know? It makes that whole thing about them taking some serum from the Epstein Island totally plausible because he looked like he had degenerated or something. I'm like, what the fuck? Usually he looks more alive than that, you know? Now, I think he was going overboard in his portrayal of the, the Bill and Ted characters, because they were just like exaggerating this shit, and it didn't make no sense. They didn't bring any nuance to it or anything. It's okay to change up a little and shit. Nobody would expect these two dudes to be in such an arrested development. The condition that they are in a film, they should be in an institution or something or watch with nurses. I'm just like, fuck, man. They didn't even try. This shit was a cash grab and a feminist spear in the heart of pop culture. And I guess the patriarchy and shit, fictional patriarchy that they claim and shit. And if that was the case, if it was such a patriarchy, this motherfucking movie would have never been made. They wasted $25 million making this shit in front of a green screen and full of shit. And, getting back to that trailer, if you watch that fucking trailer, you see that it's everything you would think it would be to the discerning, common sense eye and shit. They're married to the princesses. They're not happy, and they're thinking about leaving them and getting a divorce. And they go into couples therapy, and the women are presented as, even though they're from the medieval times and shit, they are presented as smarter than the guys, obviously. And that's not much of a stretch considering the original iterations of those characters. These goddamn women, they're so upset and everything, and they're thinking about leaving them, and they both have kids. Bill and Ted have two daughters. Okay, a daughter, two daughters. I'm like, they can't have a son and a fucking daughter. They gotta have two daughters, right? And the daughters are played by Bridget Lundy Payne and Samara Weaving. It's fucking ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. Their nicknames are Billy and Thea, by the way. Like Bill and Ted, Billy and Thea. And the actresses don't bring anything to the table whatsoever. They don't bring a goddamn thing to the table. All they do is really bad impressions of Keanu and Mr. Winter as those characters. And they even try to do their mannerisms and everything. And I'm like, it's not fucking funny. Okay? This movie has two fucking funny scenes in it and shit. That shit I mentioned with William Sadler, which comes later in the film, and the thing with their stepmother, who was a perennial at first she was chasing old dudes. And now she's marrying like their little brother or something and shit. That was kind of funny. The rest of the movie is just horrible, man. It's horrible. And so in the movie, the plot line is that Bill and Ted have supposedly written a song that unites the well, it used to be uniting the universe, but now it's uniting the dimensions and shit. And, some new snazzy new blue screen graphics and shit. They look flat as fuck. Really flat. You can see the Adobe After Effects filters on that shit. It wasn't even real done. It wasn't realized or nothing. And they even had the nerve to use George Carlin's image as a hologram and shit for like 2 seconds. I'm just like, man, it's a fucking cash grab, man. It deserves to be in a shithole. Man, I feel ill just talking about it. I got a big ass lump in my throat talking about this shit. I'm not even that fucking enamored of this shit, man. I like the first movie. I tolerate the second, the third. Hell no. Hell no. So Bill and Ted obviously fucked up and haven't written this song yet, right? Even though supposedly at the end of Bogus Journey, the song they sang was the song, but it's not the fucking song. They addressed that bullshit. It's the worst soundtrack and shit. Mark Isham was like on a bender, man. He need to go into rehab and shit. That shit he put together. And that fucking song, it could kiss my ass, man. They can kiss my. I feel sick. I'm getting a dry heaves. Talk about this. I feel I'm finna vomit. I feel like I'm finna vomit. You think I'm overreacting, man? I feel like I'm finna vomit, man. I think the world's insane. The world is going insane. Entertainment is insane. They can't even follow the basic fucking rules of entertainment, and that is give the people what they want. So in the future, now that George Carlin has popped off and shit, they are summoned to the future, right? Like George Carlin's supposed daughter, who is older than George Carlin ever looked and shit, with a big 5 million grooves in her forehead that are really visible. I can count the motherfuckers. And I got direct sunlight, and I wear glasses and shit. And I got sunlight coming in my shit. I can still see all the lines on that bitch forehead and her age lines, and she's fucked. I'm like, they couldn't get anyone. They could have got a bunch of different people to be in that role as Rufus's daughter or descendant and shit. And apparently he was married to this uptight bitch, man. He was married to shit. The actress's name is Holland Taylor. You know, she's the great leader. She's a great fucking leader. Holland Virginia Taylor. She's no broad. I don't know what to make of it. But she's dressed up in some messed up shit that looked like came from fucking pre-1950s sci-fi and shit. So they go to the future, and the future is everybody in the future is a bunch of fucking women that are levitating, actually, and really bad CGI effects, really bad in-camera effects. I don't know how the fuck they did that. It just looked really cheap and fucked up and shit, like some shit you'll see on YouTube some kid did, like some entitled fuck out in like the affluent area of California. It looked like that shit, you know. I seen better fucking effects on Ryan's toy review. Yeah. So in the future, like the supreme being is this chick, this old, bitter, dried up broad, and a bunch of other women. And I think they had one alternative, a trans woman there, and I saw a guy with a fucking hat on. He looked like the same hat that guy was wearing in that movie Get Out. It was just, it wasn't a black guy though. They were floating there. And the women proceed to verbally lambast them and then tell them that they have 70-something minutes to come up with the song, right? Like all this time. They got time. They got time and shit, man. They got fucking time machine. They control time travel and dimension and all this bullshit. And they wait until 77 fucking minutes to get these two idiots together to write this goddamn song. Or fail to outright just give them the fucking song. Just give them the fucking song because they're idiots. And they're so stupid, their DNA has affected their daughters and they're female clones of the motherfuckers and shit. And I'm just like, this shit it is fluff. It's like eating a cardboard box, entertainment wise. There's a scene in there where they're trying to convince Death to help them out because they're in hell again because they have to retread everything. They basically have this shitty little bullshit wraparound plot of Bill and Ted trying to write this song. But the movie has a secondary plot, which is actually the plot of their daughters, who are clones of them. They're clones of them. Where have I seen that before? Everywhere. The daughters go repeat the same two fucking movies. Their daughters get a time machine, and they go through time gathering people and shit. Some notable black ones. So they got Jimi Hendrix and Louis Armstrong. And for some reason, Kid Cudi. And they got some other people too. They got I think it was the one that came in was a black dude initially, but swapped him out for a white guy or something. At some point, it's like a fucking caveman drumming. They just grab him and shit. And I just look at that. They still, even in this shit, they still need to go get some brothers to help them. It's just laughing and shit. This is fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. So while we got this wraparound bullshit movie that Keanu and Alex Winter shot in probably like 2.5 weeks or something, while the rest of the movie had a normal production. They shot wraparound shit. They had to have like 2 weeks of actual shoot time, and the movie only cost $25 million. That Keanu's worth way more than that shit to do something. That's why he didn't give a fuck. He looked like shit, man. He better take some of those Illuminati shots and get his youth back. I'm like, man, he looks like shit. They kept seeing future iterations of themselves, but they didn't have the balls or the money to digitally de-age Keanu and Alex Winters so they can interact with their younger selves and shit. I thought that was coming. That didn't even happen. I'm so disappointed. Even in my disappointment, it's layers of disappointment and shit. And the fucking future is female and shit. That's That's the message I got. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy. You dried up prune. Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy, for that tagline. The future is female. So the future is dystopian. Okay? It's a bunch of old, dried up prunes and shit and coons yelling at two guys and shit, yelling at two fucking men about something they did, the accomplishments they made. They're not helping them and shit. In the original movie, George Carlin was laid back and chill, and he helped them. He gave them the fucking time machine to use. That's what he did. Even in the second movie, he was helping them motherfuckers out. Okay? Just giving them the time and shit. And it's just like, I'm tired of this fucking kind of entertainment. I don't want to do no blanket bitching, but Hollywood has failed this country. They have failed. They have no subtlety whatsoever. They have no subtlety. Everything is a punch in the fucking face. I don't know if it's by design. Sometimes I think they're doing it on purpose because they think you're dumbass mouth breathers. You're just going to go plunk your cash down even in a pandemic to see some bullshit. It's bullshit. Bullshit. Bill and Ted Face the Music. They are facing the music right now in this fucking review. It's shit. It's shit. And it's woke bullshit. Okay? There, I said that word. Now somebody can be like, oh, you're a misandrist and you hate women and shit. Well, I'm black. What you gonna do now? Now, what you gonna do? You say a diversity includes. I'm with you guys. You are shitholes. I'm tired of it. This is not diversity and inclusion and shit. Taking a pre-established character and cutting their penis off and making them a female and shit and putting their clothes on them. It's not diversity and inclusion. It's not advancement. It's not evolvement. It's not evolving into something acceptable, something fucking, that's inoffensive and shit, Fuck your third or fourth wave, whatever wave of feminism this is fuck it. You guys are shit. You're like the dumbass bullies that I used to see in high school. The kind of motherfuckers they copied off your paper and shit, Or if you were drawing a picture, they put a piece of paper on that shit and traced it. That's what you're doing with all these characters. You're putting a piece of paper over and then you're tracing it and putting I can't really say you're putting a pair of tits on it. So Bill and Ted's daughters are just feminized versions of them. And they actually have a scene in it. Every kind of woke trigger is in this goddamn movie. Like they're talking to death and he won't listen to them. And then the two feminized versions of Bill and Ted ask their fathers to leave them alone and then push them out of the room and pull the door up and start talking to death. I was tripping out, right? Because it's like PG, if they had any snark, they're gonna pull that door up and then probably give Death a blowjob or something, do some kind of sexual act or something. And I thought it was, whatever. I don't give a shit. You want to offend me, because I have a penis and shit. Then fuck it. All bets off. Take them gloves off, man. Shit. Oh man, get them up. Fuck feminism. I want to tell you right now, I am so irritated with this movie. I am going to start making videos where I just dig into all these woke shits and tell you about it. Okay? I'm going to get me some more. I'm going to get some more pieces of your ass. Okay? I want some piece of your ass. And not in the way you would like, bitches. And obviously not in the way you like, because I have a penis and shit. Okay? I'm a man. And I'm black. Okay? I know I don't sound black to some people. I'm a black dude, man. There ain't no doubt about it. Ain't no fucking blurred. Bill and Ted Face the Music is a cash grab. It is horrible. It's 88 minutes, 88 very sparse minutes of bullshit because they obviously had no script. And it was simply made as filler. It was a placeholder. And I don't see anything else coming out of this movie and shit. It was not entertaining other than a few small snippets that I already indicated verbally. It's a horrible movie. It is washing agenda politics, fake, not realistic feminism and shit. I don't know when feminism was ever really real and shit, according to this crap. Look what it has given birth to. Look at the third or fourth iteration of a whack agenda feminism and shit. It's third wave bullshit, this fourth wave bullshit. If you hear my voice and shit and you're any of this group and shit, you can kiss my fucking ass and shit. We don't care about you bitches, okay? We don't care. We're not going to come to the table and shit. I'm going to act like a fucking Tron Legacy and shit. I'm going to be just like goddamn Jeff Bridges. I'm going to I'm gonna stay off the board. I'm not gonna play. You can't play the game. The motherfucker don't come to the other side of the chessboard. And you keep fucking up. I don't need this shit, man. You know, I could just watch a motherfucking Amazon and shit, man. I could watch old movies on fucking Amazon that you bitches don't own, and you can't fuck up and shit. And even if you do, I ain't gonna watch that shit. Yeah, so hey, in the future, man, they're gonna keep making these remakes. They're gonna take all. I guess I heard what they would do a remake of Die Hard, and that's gonna be like Bruce Willis' fucking daughter and shit, you know. And she's gonna be better than him too and shit. You know, she's gonna be wearing his clothes too. She'll be like, "You get out of your clothes. I want that fucking dirty tank top, and I want those pants and shit. I want those dad pants and your shoes." Now look at me. I'm your new Bruce Willis. I feel like that movie. You know what this shit feels like that these women keep doing. You know what this motherfucking shit feels like? It feels like fucking Iron Man 3 when that fucking Guy Pearce. You say you want the Mandarin. I'm the Mandarin. You want the Mandarin? I'm the Mandarin. Then everybody groaned all across America. They had a shit show over there, Marvel. They had to go back and they had to make a short just to fix that shit. Now they don't give a fuck. Thank you, Kathleen Kennedy. You are the real life Sith Lord. Your influence is omnipresent all over this bitch. This fucking whack feminism is out of control in all sectors of everyone's fucking life in this goddamn country. When you can't even get a decent hour and a half of fucking entertainment and shit without somebody shoving their agenda in your face and shit. Fuck. I want to call Me Too. I feel like I have been assaulted. I want representation. Get goddamn Gloria Allred out of her coffin, sleeping in the blood of Bill Cosby and R. Kelly. Get her out of her coffin so that she can represent me. I want reparations for this bullshit. I can't get no entertainment. I'm a fucking minority. I'm in the diversity and inclusion bullshit. Black Lives Matter, but entertainment sucks. Fuck it. Bill and Ted Face the Music and kiss my ass.